Hello and welcome back to The Artisan of Glimpse. In the last part we made the shaping into silver, now onto gold. Shaping? All rings must be this shape. Let's split it into smaller parts to make it easier to work with. The start of both is a W, so that's this part. Then here is an L triomino, a single point, and another W pentomino. And to get into one of these gaps, it can only be here, one of these 3 points. So that is at least the triomino. What if it is the W? It can't go around like here. And if it goes to here, then that tile is isolated, so it must be here. And then with a 4 tile. So since W was not possible, it must be this part. So the form can be filled in if it gets rotated correctly. You are the equivalent of this. So the W is here. Here's a single, and that's the second W. The shape needs to get out and is now already the long part. And your point is there. Which of you 3 are the most restricted? Maybe that one? Because again, it needs to be one of these 3 points. Can't be a W like this. But if it goes around like that? That doesn't work because then what goes into this corner. It would need to be a W start from one of these 2 points, but a W here would isolate that tile. So this tile is also here. This is the triomino part, so you go up 1 and be a W, and this is the second W. And that's it. Shaping a big rectangle. every rotation of this shape, the minimum common shape is 3 by 3 scale, so that must be the minimum that comes out of a corner. You can't become a vertical rectangle because then this is a one-tile gap. That created two more corners which need to be a square minimum. This tile needs to be a part of a shape. You need to get up to fill in the gap. The bottom corner comes up by 3 and the top corner down by 3, so they join to this shape. Here's the new corner. And you can't join to a 6, because that would be too high. There's a one-tile gap. And two more corners that connect each other. Five. Shaping a triomino next to an expentomino. So, is there something that's not yeah, everything that comes out of the cul-de-sacs is at least a triomino. And you can't be part of the X, and you couldn't be this part, because then it needs to attach to here and there. So this point is here. You can be filled in. Now you need to join to an X. Now you take these two, but can go either up or down. But if it would come up here, here is a 2-tile deep hole, and no part of this shape can fit into it. So you go down. You join to a triomino and thereby this shape. You join to an X. You must be an X because the triomino couldn't attach one. This needs two more on the side, so you go to here, and there's a tile left over. Shaping an F pentomino. 30, so 6. These cul-de-sacs all need to grow at least by one. Is it possible for purple and yellow to be different shapes? I don't see how it would work, but how to prove it. The F pentomino is in a 3x3 grid, so every starting point that comes out of the cul-de-sac will take space in the column that's 3 apart from it. So this would need to take either one of these squares, so it's not possible for them not to join. Oh. The F doesn't have a way to get into a two-tile default, so that must be avoided here. And again, a two-tile dipole needs to be avoided, so if it would come to, and also it would isolate it. Shaping. If pentomino with an extension. This can't be the long end, so it must be one of the shorter points. If it would be this, then it goes to so if the shape would be mirrored, it's this shape here. So it's, under the assumption that this is that part, it would look either like this or like that. Thought it would be impossible here, but didn't come quite far enough. Don't see any immediate problem with that. It's only difficult to do? Oh, I guess I can leave that in. Something needs to get out of that too. Okay, you are better. Because you can't be this part, or you would need to extend to here or there. And you can be this part, or you would run into this or that again. So you must be the bottom part of it. You are the equivalent of this line. And from there it extends 2 more. Can't go outside the grid, so needs to come down. And the remaining tile is this one that's here. And all of you can be placed in. Guess it was only about finding the break-in. Shaping. To get into this cul-de-sac, it can only be this part. You need to turn left, or this region would be impossible to fill in. Is it possible for a tile in a corner on the border of the grid to be this part of the shape? Don't think so, because if it comes up here, it creates a 2 tile deep gap here. And if it would go around like this, then here is a 2 tile deep gap. So a corner on the edge of the grid must be one of these 3 points. It is thereby at least a 2x2 square. You need to take this tile, or you would, something would, if it would have taken this, something would come in here, which is not possible. No corner. You are different because you have flexibility on this side, so it would potentially possible to be in this shape. But it can't be a tile poking in, because then they would intersect on here, so at least this tile is part of orange. Red needs a rectangle part. Now, this can only be orange. Here's a new corner. that right? Now, if red would take this one, then it creates this shape here, and blue will take at least one of these 3 points. This doesn't have the freedom to not be a square. Started rain, I need to close the windows. Yeah, I'm back. Where was I? The logic from here is also true for this. This must be blue because otherwise it is impossible. Now, does this have the flexibility to not be a square? Can do this, and it can do this, okay. If it would be a rectangle like this, then here is a barrier. So what shape is this tile a part of? It can't be blue. And thereby would need to get to here or there. Not possible. So, oranges. Auf Orange kannst du hier sein. This tile is impossible to fill in. Would be isolated if red that doesn't take it. Three puzzles left. Six even. Seven, okay. Six. Let's take the 5 on the side as a last puzzle for today. Shaping a El Tetromino. Here's a cul-de-sac that's forced. And that's the only one in the puzzle that's unambiguous. At least the domino must come out of the cul-de-sacs. Is it possible for this tile to join up here? Because it goes either here or there. Yeah. No, it could also do this. So, what if it does join? Then... don't see a problem. This here must be a different region, because otherwise it would need to get outside the grid or into the already existing tetromino. Would join the L would extend to here or there. Now if yellow would turn this way, the created square here looks difficult to fill in. It looks impossible to fill in, because it needs a 3 tile long line, and the only way would be here. That isolates the tile. So you turn left. Similarly here, if you would come up, then here is the same situation with the square that's poking in. So something would come to here and isolate the tile. And if it would turn like this, then here's only a triomino left over. Can't turn here, so we must turn already. You can't isolate these. This can only join to here to become a valid tetromino. Can turn here, so need to do it there. You run into this. That didn't quite feel like a 5. Guess I lucked into finding the correct start with a yellow tetromino. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for watching.